In this video, we review a single ASIN campaign structure that I'm now using for most of my products, how to automate it step by step using promotions and merch jar, plus a few extra advertising tips and best practices. To make it easier to follow along, take a second now to download the campaign structure and rules cheat sheet from the description. This video is part of a longer 2.5-hour Facebook Live that I streamed a couple weeks ago, exclusively in our Amazon Ads University Facebook group. If you're not already a member, join now for free to get access to the entire video, plus learn from thousands of other Amazon advertisers using the links in the description. If you're not a merch jar user, you can still use all the strategies and best practices in this video. But if you'd like to save hours every single month managing your ad campaigns, you can start your free unlimited 30-day trial at merchjar.com. I have a product that, and several of you may be experiencing this. I have a product that's kind of picked up during the holiday sale. It's an older product. It's got over 100 reviews, so it's sold fairly well like over the last few years, but it's really starting to like pick up during the holidays, selling 10 plus units a day, which it hasn't done in a long time, if maybe ever. And I set up the ad campaigns for it to build kind of that structure. So a single ASIN campaign structure. I've posted this in the group as well. This is pretty close to what I use for most of my products. And what this has shown is your different campaigns. So I have an auto campaign, and this is just going to be for one ASIN. And then I have a manual testing campaign with 3 different targets, or ad groups, sorry. And then a performance campaign with the same 3 different ad groups. And these lines here are showing you basically the rules that are used to move keywords from one ad group to another. And the reason we do this is we want to isolate those keywords, get them into kind of, these, ultimately the performance campaigns where you're putting your best keywords and product targets together, and then you're using placement adjustments. These you can end up, again, separating by campaign if you want to do placement adjustments specific to each ad group or target. But this is pretty close to what I use. And so we can set up something like this for a product, and I have one set up. The only thing we're going to be skipping is the broad match in performance. I'd say this is like kind of optional. You could just leave the broad match in testing, and it'll save you a rule as well. And these rules are set up to kind of correlate with merch jar. So we're going to go into our promotions. I have a few different ones, mostly for my best sellers, but this is one I do not have yet. Let me find the ASIN. So what I'm doing here is going to pull in all the ad groups that I'm working with, and I've already created those ad groups in Ad Console. Merch jar doesn't allow you to create campaigns and ad groups at this time. That will be coming down the road, but essentially you're going to create these. So in Ad Console, I have this product, and you can see I have my automatic campaigns. So how you name your campaigns is pretty important. Maybe I'll touch on that a little bit here. For me, the most important thing is the ASIN. You want to get the ASIN in the title because that's the easiest way to search for it, to find only the campaigns that are specific to that product. So these are all my different campaigns. You can see I've segmented out my automatic campaigns. So the SPA is kind of my naming that I use. So sponsored product, automatic, sponsored product, manual, and then kind of a description. And then I use keywords as well after that. This is basically the product title after. The goal behind how you name your campaigns is you want to be able to look at the campaign name and know exactly what's in that campaign without having to drill down into it and see what's being advertised or what the goal is. And there's a lot of different varieties you can do here, but essentially it's, I'll go ASIN, what the targeting is, and I'll change this based on like if it's a brand defense or product targeting, or I'm targeting specific competitors, I'll put that in as well. And then the keywords as well. So if you wanted to like, I don't know, do a search by like a niche or something, you're probably picking it up through the keywords if you did proper keyword research for your products. So I have 5 campaigns. I have my close, loose match, substitute. So those are those segmented automatic campaigns. And I have a testing and a performance with all of them running. So let's take a look at the testing and performance. So our testing campaign, So what I ended up having here, this was an older campaign, and I had it as an older structure. So there's already keywords in this, but it was kind of mixed with your with exact match, broad match. So what I'm going to end up doing is just turning this into a broad match with this. Let's see. Let's look at our targeting. So yeah, you can see I got broad, phrase, and they have order data. I don't know. I probably could like turn these off and like put them into the other campaigns, but I'm just gonna let it go for now and just kind of run. This will just be my broad campaign, so I'm just gonna go broad. Let's keep it. And I even have a phrase match, because I don't really do much. You can test it. But broad covers every possible target that a phrase match will, so I don't necessarily see the need. And in my opinion, if you're testing all three, it requires more testing. So anytime you add a keyword or a new campaign, is like you need to be committed to spending the budget to collect enough data to test it. Because the absolute worst thing you can do, and probably the biggest mistake I see new advertisers make, is they test too many different things all at once and don't give them enough time, or more importantly, enough data to be able to confidently make a decision. If you're turning a broad match off after 10 clicks because it hasn't sold and you spent money and you didn't see a return, you basically just wasted all of your spend and got nothing of value in return. Those 10 clicks are probably across 10 different search terms. So you got one click on each search term. It's just not telling you anything. Even if you had a 50% conversion rate on a potential search term, one click isn't enough to tell you that. All right, so rant over on that. But that is one of the bigger mistakes. So make sure if you are going to test something, just commit to collecting enough data to do that. And the more data you have, the more confident you can be in that decision that you're making. If you're turning it off too early, you could be potentially turning off a potential bestseller, and you don't have the data to know whether it is or not. So this is our testing. Let me close out of here. So turn that into our broad, refresh that. We got our exact, we got our product, and then we have our performance campaign and our ad groups here, exact and product. So I'm going to skip that broad match optional one while we're creating this. So everything's set up. So I got my 5 campaigns here. Let me flip, actually, I'm going to flip back that just so you can see what that looks like. So this is what we were looking at. So we got our auto harvesting. The only difference between what I just showed you and this is that I have 3 campaigns for the auto harvesting, so 3 different ad groups. And then we have our testing with the 3 different ad groups, and we have our performance with exact product targeting. We're skipping this broad match. Otherwise, it looks just like this. And you could do the same kind of structure if you do just have a single auto campaign. You would just have the one ad group, which I'll show you. So we're in Merge Jar. I'm gonna search for this ASIN. Oops. I don't want that. So here's all the different ad groups available for this one. So here's my automatic substitutes, automatic close match, automatic loose. So there's my auto campaigns, that kind of first keyword harvesting level. And then we have our testing campaigns. We gotta get those ad groups. And that we had all 3. We had our broad, exact, and product. This one's called all matches. That'll update once it syncs. It syncs every 6 hours. So like if you do create these campaigns and you are a Merge Jar user, you just gotta wait for that sync to happen. We don't have a way to manually sync it at this time. So we're gonna select those, our product testing and our exact. And then we have our performance and exact and product. So you can see just by my campaign name and my ad group names, I can tell exactly what every single one of these are. So we are using every single one of these. And you have advanced search in here if you, mess up your nomenclature or something. You can do a little more advanced. You can hide and show your pause and so forth. So we're gonna add these. So these are our basically ad groups that are part of this promotion group. So the next thing we need to do is add rules. There was only 2 rules that we can make all these adjustments. So I'm gonna basically use those 2 rules. So we're gonna create the first rule. And what this is doing, I'm gonna call this auto to testing. So what this is doing is taking any search terms that are in the auto campaign that get a couple orders, and we're gonna put those into our testing campaign. We're gonna put it as an exact match or a product target. It'll go in as an exact match if it's a keyword, and it'll go in as a product target if it's an ASIN. So they require two different ad groups. An ad group is either keyword targeting or it's product targeting. So keyword targeting is going to be your broad phrase exact match. Your product targeting is going to be any ASIN specific targets. So when you look at your search term report, when it shows an ASIN, that's what you would put in your product target. Or it can be category targeting too, which we haven't really talked about. But I think for most people, I would probably avoid that until you gain a little more experience, or you're looking at broadening your or scaling your advertising out to potentially more products. So what we're going to do here is we're going to set our trigger. So what the search terms what criteria they need to meet in order to be affected by it. And we want to any order greater than 1. So any search terms that have at least 2 orders, we're going to put into the testing as an exact match or a product match. And that's Merchar handles that for you. I'll show you how that's done here. And you can add additional criteria as well. So if you want like an ACoS filter to it or a certain number of clicks, you can do that. Clicks is really useful for like negating certain things. And how many days look back. So if you leave blank, it's just gonna be lifetime data that's in Merchar. So Merchar is able to look back 60 days from the day you signed up. And we keep lifetime data. So in Amazon, the most data you can get is 90 days back. We can go further back than that with Merchar if you've been a user for more than 60 days. After that, we keep logging data. So that's really useful if you want to go back. Once you're a user for 2+ years or whatever it looks like, you're able to go back to previous holiday seasons, see what search terms sold well then. So a lot of advantages of that to having historical data, which Amazon doesn't give you. You can keep track of it yourself by downloading reports every month essentially. And then I don't know, aggregating the spreadsheet. It's not easy, but we make it a little easier with our search term page, and we store all the data for you. So we're going to do a look back period, anywhere from 30 to 90 days. Kind of depends a little bit on how much order data you're getting. I'd say 90 days is a pretty good amount. I have a lot of data in Merchar, so about a year of data for this account. So I don't want to look at an entire year of data. I just want to look at kind of the last 90 days, what's selling. So what I want to do is find any search terms that have a couple orders and get those into our testing campaign as an exact match to continue testing. So this is kind of what I would set it up. If you don't have that much data, just leave it at lifetime and it'll keep going. And then when you're promoting a keyword, you can increase the bid or decrease it if you want to. So this is useful to try to get Amazon to spend on the new ad group, so in the testing or performance versus the old one. So where it's doing well or it's performing, so we want to increase the bid a little bit. So I'm going to increase it 5 cents. So that's our trigger, and then kind of what happens when it does it. So this is moving auto to testing. So what we want to look at first we're going to select the ad groups for use search terms from here. So what that's saying is these are the ad groups to look at the search terms. And every ad group that we select here, it's going to look at every single search term every day and see if it hit this trigger. If it didn't, nothing happens. If it does, then it's going to do whatever we're selecting here. So we need to select our search terms. We're looking at the auto campaign. So we want to see what's selling in our automatic campaigns. We got 3 of them. So we got, performance, testing, loose. So here's one we want, close, and substitute. So there's our 3 automatic campaigns. So it's going to look at all 3 of those ad groups every single day. And then what we want to do is to promote the keywords to an exact match in our testing, to our exact match campaigns. We're going to go exact match to our exact testing campaign. And then as a product target in our product ad group in our testing campaign. So any ASINs that hit our criteria, have at least 2 orders, are going to get dumped into the product ad group, and any keywords are going to get put into our exact match in our exact match ad group here. Now previously I have talked about also negating keywords, which is an option. I've kind of moved away from that, and there's really 2 different camps, I'd say, on the Amazon advertising side, of whether you negate a keyword when you promote it or if you don't. So there's one camp that is you should isolate all your keywords. So if you promote it to an exact match here, that search term should not be showing up or shouldn't be targeted anymore in the automatic campaigns. So you would add it as a negative keyword. So let's say this one, dog shirt, sold twice. And now I'm going to have that in as an exact match as dog shirt. I don't want dog shirt to show up for these campaigns. That is an option. That's something I did in the past. I've moved away from it, and the biggest reason for that is that a lot of times you'll have a new campaign or a new keyword or target or whatever it is that performed well, got several orders, low ACoS, and then it gets put into a new ad group or campaign, and it doesn't even get any impressions, or it performs way worse than what it did in the originating ad group. So because of that, I don't want to mess with something that's already working. And in the case that this doesn't perform or get impressions, I'm not negating that. You could still do this. I would set it up as a separate rule with different triggers. I would want to make sure it's performing in these ad groups before negating it from the others. Otherwise, it doesn't really hurt to have two different campaigns target the same search terms. Amazon doesn't let you compete against yourself, so you're not gonna increase the bid on one campaign because your other campaign has a higher bid. That doesn't happen. Amazon doesn't let you do it. So I'm okay with having different campaigns target the same search terms. All right, so we got this rule. So everything for our automatic is gonna look at those search terms every day. Anytime one hits 2 orders within that look back window of 90 days, it's gonna create those keywords. So we're going to add that. That's our first rule. I'm going to turn that on. It's not turned on yet, and we're going to test it before we go live. So, and we got one more rule here. I think I'm going to do a third one too as a bonus. We're going to call this testing to performance. I'm going to, this is pretty flexible, like how many orders you want to do. You can do like 2 orders, 3, 4, whatever that looks like. Whatever. Because this is an existing campaign, and I might have a lot of search terms that do have maybe like 1 or 2 orders. I'm going to start kind of conservative with that, and I'd recommend that for if you're kind of converting a bestseller to a campaign structure and you're using something like this, or even if you're just doing it manually, I don't want to create 100 different keywords at the same time. I'd rather kind of do that a little bit slower. So there's a couple different ways to do that. I can start with a higher order threshold. So like maybe I just want to start with 10 and test it. So maybe we'll do that. Or maybe I'll use a shorter look back window. So maybe I'll do like 14 days. Like what do we have that's got 2 orders that's not already in our performance ones in just a shorter date range? And as we extend that out, you're probably going to have more keywords and product targets that meet that threshold. So I think I'm going to do, let's just start with 4. We'll see what happens. We can adjust that. If it doesn't create any new keywords, maybe we can lower that threshold, because it's really that initial time that you're creating all those for established campaigns that it really matters. If these are new, if this is like a new campaign, you set up this structure like right away, it doesn't really matter because it'll just kind of be a rolling evaluation. And we're not going to do an ACoS target. These, we'll bump it up another 5 cents. So with these here, what we want to look at is our testing ad group. So this is our, let's see, testing, our exact match. We want to look at that. So we want to pull the search terms from there to evaluate them. And then our testing product, we also want to evaluate from there. And we also want to look at our automatic campaigns. If any of those do have multiple orders inside the automatic campaign, we're just going to put those right into our performance campaign. So we're just going to look at those. And then this is where we show where we want to put these at. So we want to promote to an exact match in our performance. So exact performance. And as a product ad group in our product ad group performance. So that's the kind of simple way. Now, what I like to have is, because these are search terms that are doing well and performing well, or presumably, and again, you can put an ACoS filter on it if you want to make sure you're not promoting anything that's like crazy high ACoS. I want to turn those exact matches into a broad match as well to act as more keyword harvesting. So our automatic campaigns are our broad keyword harvesting, and our broad match manual campaigns also functions in a very similar way. We want to find other similar search terms that can also perform well for this product to then put those into our exact match as well. So we're also going to put it into our testing campaign. So the keywords automatic, and that was our broad match that I converted it to. We're going to also add it as a broad match there. And the reason I like to do it here in the testing to performance step rather than the auto to testing step, so like at the same time you create an exact match on the testing campaign, is because I don't want too many broad matches, because I'm using broad matches, where if you're just having one or two orders before you're adding to an exact match, you can end up with a lot of very similar keywords as a broad match that are essentially targeting the same thing. So you might get something like dog shirt that does well. Okay, that gets a couple orders. Now it's in our exact testing, and we add it as an abroad in our testing at the same time because it's got 2 orders. And then dog t-shirt sells 2 times, and that gets placed in exact and as well into broad. So now you got 2 keywords that are essentially targeting the same thing, but you're splitting your clicks and data across 2 different keywords. So you kind of want as much data consolidated as possible because for testing purposes. So you can look at one keyword and you have kind of your threshold to see how that's performing. If you have 2, well, now you have twice as much data you need to collect in order for testing. So I want a little more validation out of those search terms before I'm turning them into broad, and it just kind of reduces the amount of broad match search terms that are going to be targeting the same keywords. So this is what our rule looks like. We're going to add that. I'm going to turn that on, and we can save it. And before I turn it on, I'm going to do a dry run. This just is going to do a test. It's going to evaluate take my rules and evaluate all those search terms across all those campaigns, and it's going to tell you what it's doing. So this one here is creating 4 new keywords. So it's creating one in testing, a couple in testing, a product in our testing campaign. Oh, that's doing actually as a broad, sorry. So our testing performance rule triggered one for this keyword here, and it creates the broad as well at the same time in our testing. And then for targets, these came from our auto campaigns, these 2 ASINs, because they got at least 2 orders over that time frame, and those are going to add to our campaign. So that looks good to me. I'm just going to leave that as is. I do have another rule that we could set up, and this would be our negation rule. So this is one of my favorite things about promotions, even if you're not doing like these crazy structures or anything like that. But one of the best things you can do to optimize your campaigns is negating any keywords or product targets that get clicks but don't have orders, which is like the worst thing ever. But you want to make sure you get enough. So this is going to be a negation. So like any keywords or products, and this will depend how aggressive you want to be. More aggressive, you might want lower. I'm conservative on this because I want to collect data as much as possible, and I'm just going to do it over a lifetime, however much data I got. But let's, I don't know, let's do it like 30 clicks. So what we can do is just look at, I don't know what we want. Let's do like auto. Let me think. We don't really need to negate exact match. We do on the broad. And products. I might do those separate though. Product, negation, keyword. Because those, actually no, let's just do them all. Product. So I'm just skipping the exact because those are targeting a handful of search terms, basically whatever the exact match keyword is, plus like plurals or misspellings, so only a handful. And those are going to be basically optimized by our bids, so I don't have to worry about like negating those. Where our broad match stuff is going to be ASINs and keywords from all over the place, where we do want to negate those if one of them goes crazy and starts using all our budget. So what we want to do is that's orders, that's not what I want. I want clicks. So any target that's got greater than or equal to 20 clicks and equal to 0 orders, so they're getting clicks, they've never gotten an order, we want to negate those so we stop spending money on them. So this is reducing wasted ad spend. So this is kind of that optimization. So we want to negate them as an exact and product from each of these that we have. Now, with this, so right now promotions is not aggregating search term data across these, so I might actually split this up into a couple different ones, because if a search term isn't doing well in one ad group, like say our automatic campaigns, but it's doing well in our manual testing campaign, I don't want it to not perform, because it's not performing well here, it gets negated in your automatic campaign plus negated in your testing campaign. So it is a best practice to kind of split these up into kind of buckets. So I'm going to just do like auto negation. So I might call that auto negation. So this is only going to affect my automatic campaigns and only negate them in my automatic campaigns. It's not going to mess with my manual campaigns. On our roadmap, we got a feature where it will aggregate search term data. So it'll take the search term across all of your ad groups and then evaluate based on the aggregated data against the trigger. So it kind of avoids that situation. So we're going to do that, and basically this is going to help take care of any keywords and products that are sucking up ad spend in our auto campaigns, which is mostly what's running. So we're just I'm going to end it here after this. We'll do another dry run and see if any, new negative. So there were 3 ASINs that, well, just one, sorry, it was one ASIN that is negating across 3 of those auto campaigns. So this ASIN had at least 20 clicks, didn't have any orders over its lifetime. So that looks good to me. I'm going to turn that on. And now we got a promotion that's going to run every single night and move any keywords. And you can do that across all your products if you want. So I appreciate everyone's time. Let me know any additional questions you have in the group. Happy to answer. And let me know if you like this format, if this is something you would want to see again. Otherwise, I will talk to you guys soon.